Okay, thanks for coming today. Glad everybody's settled. Today we're going to be talking for a little bit about the legislative branch.
Good morning, everyone. As Steve said, I hope you all had a good weekend. Right now I'm going to go over the judicial branch, so that's the final branch in our little unit. Like the other two instructors have done, here's a pre-test that I want you guys to kind of think about as we're going through. So what is the judicial branch? Who is in charge? Does the judicial branch make the laws, execute the laws, or determine whether or not a law is constitutional? Also, who makes up the judicial branch, and what powers does this branch have? So just some questions to consider, and we're going to answer those at the end of the lesson. So basically, simplified, the judicial branch is the branch that decides whether or not a law is constitutional. There are 9 justices who are appointed for life. They may choose to resign or die, and then they would bring in a new justice. This picture here is the United States Supreme Court building. All right, so I have a short video for us to watch. It kind of goes over all of the branches, but just pay attention mostly to when they go over the judicial branch. Oops, just kidding.
It's the legislative branch.
Yeah, it's the courts.
It's the executive branch. I'm the one that passed the laws. So if you want to make something happen, you gotta go through me. Who's calling the shots in the Oval Office? Vocabulary. Let's go. It goes check, check, 2-state balance, not just one. We bring 3 talents, the powers. Gotta keep them separated. That's the motto. We made it. 3 branches of government, that's all. Legislative writes the laws. Executive executes laws so official. The court system is judicial. I'm the legislative branch. I write laws. Without me, it'll be anarchy, of course. Say my name. I'm called Congress, sitting on Capitol Hill. Kid, that's honest. Made up from the Senate and the House of Reps. We write a bill and send it to the president's desk. We legislate, and we roll deep. 535 members in my clique. State Senate, each state sends 100 senators in all. That's how we do. The House of Representatives is by population. County reps the hardest, no debating. If my bill gets a presidential veto, I can override that with enough people. I wrote the budget and I'm passing the laws. Now I'ma grab the mic and pass it off.
Oh, hey, Congress, sometimes I need to mess with your plans. I carry out laws, I'm the executive branch. I'm the president, roll with the VP and cabinet. I'll veto your laws if I'm not having it. So hail to the commander-in-chief. All the armed forces need to follow me. My power's been blossoming since George Washington stepped into the office and did awesome things. I got a bowling alley in my home where I call in airstrikes from invisible drones. Who owns the cabinet and judges too? The boss in the Oval Office, that's who.
Check, check, I'ma keep it short, the judicial system. I'm the courts, my highest court, that's supreme. All 9 justices know what I mean. Nominated by the press, confirmed by the Senate. No term limits, they serve a life sentence. Plead your case, it's not unusual for me to rule the law unconstitutional.
So I write a law, well I might veto it, and I can override that. You know it,
Man, I'm executive, the one that carries it
You
out.
can get challenged in the courts, that's what I'm all about. I might declare it unconstitutional.
I can impeach judges who act unusual.
I nominate justices in the first
I can
place.
impeach you too if you step out of place. 3 branches of government, that's all. Legislative writes the laws. Executive executes laws so official. The court system is judicial. 3 branches of government, that's all. Legislative writes the laws. Executive executes laws so official. The court system is judicial. It goes check, check, 2-state balance, not just one. We bring 3 talents, the powers. Gotta keep them separated. That's the motto. We made it.
Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed that little vignette of loveliness. So now I'm just going to run over the types of courts. Here I have listed all the types of courts. I'm just going to go over a couple of these. So the first up is the Court of Appeals. There are 12 regional courts and 1 federal court of appeals. Each court has the right to review decisions of district courts in its region. The district court is the court right underneath the Court of Appeals. A convicted criminal may want to appeal his or her case. To appeal in the court system means to apply a higher court for a reversal of the decision of a lower court. So the appellant, or one who is appealing a case, must show that in the trial court there was a legal error. So they can't come and say, oh, I just think that's really unfair and I want to redo. Like, there has to actually be a legal issue with their trial in the first place. So no new evidence may be permitted, and a document called a brief is written by each side stating their case. Then the briefs are given to a panel of 3 judges who review the case. So like I said, one step below the Court of Appeals is the district court. There are 94 districts, and each has at least 2 judges. Each district has a U.S. bankruptcy court. In the district courts are trial courts of the federal system. A grand jury indicts the accused and juries decide the case. So it's kind of like a bigger version of what we think of, a courtroom setting. The U.S. Court of Federal Claims, otherwise known as the People's Court, deals with grievances against the federal government. And then we get down to the state courts. There's special versus general jurisdiction. The special jurisdiction handles juvenile and lesser criminal and traffic-related cases, whereas the general handles serious civil and criminal cases. A civil case, by the way, is one that usually involves money, just money, and a criminal case is where there's actually like a conviction happening and someone's going to go to prison, and they probably will also have to pay a lot of money. So this is kind of what I talked about laid out. The Supreme Court is obviously the biggest court in the land. Then here's the Court of Appeals with the 12 circuits, 94 districts, the tax courts. So you can kind of see there how that's all laid out. Here is an example of a summons for juror service. Hopefully, since you guys are pretty young yet, you won't have to do this for a long time, but maybe your parents or grandparents have served on a jury, so this is what that would look like. Here I have listed the justices on the Supreme Court currently. As you can see, John G. Roberts right here is the Chief Justice since 2005. So there's that. Give me a second to just look over the names. As you can see, some of them have been on for quite a while. 1986 is getting to me a long time ago now. Here are the canons, or otherwise a code of conduct sort of for the justices to follow. So I know it's kind of blurry. So Canon 1, a judge should uphold the integrity and independence of the judiciary. Canon or Rule 2, a judge should avoid impropriety and the appearance of impropriety in all activities. So they can't, go to a party and get completely wasted and come to work the next day and, do their thing. Canon 3, a judge should perform the duties of the office impartially and diligently. So they need to be fair in what they do. Canon number 4, a judge may engage in extrajudicial activities to improve the law, the legal system, and the administration of justice. So kind of like how you guys are involved in extracurricular activities, that's kind of what they're doing to improve the country. Canon 5, a judge should regulate extrajudicial activities to minimize the risk of conflict with the judicial duties. So that's kind of like if you guys are in, 7 different things plus school, it can kind of get a little hectic. So try to pick and choose what you want to do extracurricularly. That's what the judges try to do. Canon 6, a judge should regularly file reports of compensation received for law-related and extrajudicial activities. So if they get paid for it, they need to say, got paid for it, not trying to get paid under the table or anything. Last canon, a judge should refrain from political activity. So a justice can't say, oh, hey guys, you want to go, picket this political whatever, they can't get too political one way or the other because of canon number 3. Remember it said should be fair, so those are those. This is our current Supreme Court. They have jurisdiction over civil issues and federal criminal cases. They cannot approach an issue or a case on its own. It must be brought to them. Justices can be impeached if they are not following the canons that I just explained. Also, a fun little fact, between 1789 and 1869, the appropriate number of justices has changed 6 times. They kind of settled on the number 9 in 1869. So, I mean, they've had 9 justices for kind of a while, but there was some fluctuation there. All right, here are some important cases I want you to know. 1803, Marbury versus Madison. It was basically the first time that a court decided that an act of Congress was void because it was unconstitutional, which is exactly what their job is to do. Another extremely important case is Brown versus the Board of Education. In 1896, there was a case called Plessy versus Ferguson, which basically allowed for state-sanctioned segregation. So if you've heard the term separate but equal, that's kind of where that comes in. We all know it was separate but not equal. So the Supreme Court handed down the decision that segregation was unconstitutional on May 17th, 1954. So there's that. This is, I know it's kind of blurry to see, but she's holding up a newspaper that says, I think it's High Court bans segregation in public schools. So that's a pretty iconic photo. And then the headline here, segregation declared unconstitutional. Here's another picture of the Supreme Court building. This is a tool that judges commonly use, gavel. This is another visual organizer for you guys. Just to kind of, it's a real basic, simple explanation of how it's broken down. But if you notice that at the bottom, they both say interpret laws, which is exactly what they should be doing. In your handout, this picture is in here. I thought it would be a good visual organizer for you guys. It goes over all of the checks and balances. Down here, judicial branch, like I said, Supreme Court, Court of Appeals, and the district courts. So the court can declare presidential acts unconstitutional, and then it, it kind of just goes around the little triangle there. Okay, so conclusion or post-test. If you guys remember at the beginning, I said to keep those questions in mind. So what is the judicial branch? Who's in charge? What's the function of this branch? Who makes up the judicial branch? What is the power of the judicial branch? So who wants to go? How about Steve? What is the judicial branch? And don't be afraid, you guys. I know I went over it kind of quick, but you guys are smart, so I know you guys can.
The judicial branch, looking at my notes, the biggest thing I'd say is the courts.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay.
Who is in charge?
The Supreme
Court. Thank you. Matt, what would you say the function of this branch is?
To determine whether legislation is constitutional or not.
Exactly. Who makes up the judicial branch?
Would it be all the courts in the land?
All the courts in the land, the 9 justices, all the judges involved, so yes, pretty much every aspect of that. And what is the power of the judicial branch? We kind of covered it in the third question there, so this one's for anyone. Okay, go ahead.
To determine the constitutionality of laws passed by Congress.
Awesome, awesome. All right, and then here are my references that I used. So, and this will be available for anyone who wants to maybe go on here and, there's a glossary of legal terms, which I know seems pretty dry, but whoever's interested in that can go on there. There's understanding federal courts, welcome to jury duty if you were interested in that. So there you go. Any questions from anybody? No? All right.